Hey, this is Kathy, Crowder's Mountain, North Carolina. I've got something that I think you're going to enjoy today. It's a little bit more, not complicated, just maybe a little bit more time consuming as far as me drawing the pattern for y'all. But when you're taping it up, it's a lot easier to tape. Let me show you. Of course, you may have already seen the thumbnail, but this one is called Chips and Whetstones. We used to call them wet rocks, but the name of it actually is Chips and Whetstones. And I just wanted it to give it sort of a fall feel. So I used different colors than the picture. I'll try to get that glare off of it if I can. I think you can see that okay. But anyway, here is the picture that I found. And it's in that book. You know, I tell y'all about that book that's got 5,500 quilt patterns. Well, this is the one that I found. So you can see the picture had it in different colors of blues. And I think that's beautiful. But I do a lot of blues and yellows and reds. And I just wanted something a little bit different this time. And so I thought, well, I'll just make it. People keep talking about fall of the year. And it's 94 here, so I don't know where it's at, but people keep talking about the fall. So I'm trying to cool myself down by painting fall colors, I guess. But anyway, let me put this over here. And before I get started on the pattern, I wanted to show you what I've been up to. I did do another dahlia. I did do another pink dahlia, and I got the colors to do a white one, and I may show it to you since I already painted this one and it's on a video, the tutorial. I probably won't do another one just like this, but I am going to paint it again, but I'm going to use whites. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow, and then I'm going to use shades of white. And I'm not sure about my border yet, what color, but I'm going to do this background in green. So it'll be white and green with the green background. And then I don't know about that yet. But I'll show it to you when I'm finished. And that way you can just see it in case you want a white one. And then this is the last tutorial that I put up, and it's that peace sign. So you'll find that on the video as well. And this one's been donated to the Cleveland County Music Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if they're going to hang it up or if they're going to use it for their fundraiser that's coming up. It doesn't matter once I donate it. It's not my decision. It's theirs. All right, I've got this taped down, and I'm hoping it'll stay. Put a little bit more on it. When I start drawing that circle, that's the issue I have here. Start drawing the circle on this paper, and it starts coming up. But let's see what happens. All right. So we're going to be drawing 2 circles. And hopefully I'll stop and let you guys take screenshots as I'm going. The first thing that I need to do is find the center. And I'm going to just find that center. This is 24 inches. And I got a 24-inch ruler. And I'm just going to put a dot there at 12. And I need my Lazy Susan, don't I? Then see, I put it at the bottom, and I'm going to go up here to the top, and I'm going to make another mark at 12. And get that evened up. Just even it up, because a lot of times the saw takes part of your board, so it's not a perfect 24. So just even your ruler up on each end, like leave the same amount hanging off of each end, and then find the center. All right, so with this particular one, I'm going to draw a line. Now this is just really going to be a guideline. So what I think I'll do is just, you wouldn't do this on your board. You just draw a straight line. We're going to have so many lines on here when we finished. I just want to make sure you know this one is a guideline. That'll help you when you go to draw yours. Let me see if that light is helping or not. Okay. I'm trying to draw with dark. I'm using Sharpies. Now, when I put it on my board, I'm using the heat erasable pens. I'm not using a Sharpie to put it on my board. I'm just using the Sharpie so you can see the lines that I'm drawing. Okay, now, all right, let me just double check the center on this one, because I will try to find the center of my board. Okay, here you go. Now, so I marked it at 12 on that side as well. So now, I'm going to get the 12 right in there. And I know that I got the center. So here it is. Right there. That's the very center of my board. That way when you put your pattern down, you know it's going to be centered inside your square. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is draw a circle. This is a demonstration compass. And that's how I draw my circles. Now if you want to know more about that, I've got a video up called How to Draw Circles, and you can on my channel, so you can go find that. Alright, now I put that nail right in the middle of my board just to anchor this. And then this little hole, if you buy one of these, there's a suction cup that comes right here, because this really is meant to go on a wipe-off board if you're teaching a class or something. But I pulled that off because I needed that spot to put over my nail in the center of my board. Alright, so we're going to draw a big circle first. So I want it to go all the way to the end, or as close to the end as I can get it. Now, let me take this out. If I don't, it'll start wiggling on me. Alright, so I'm getting it as close to the end of the board as I can. And that's about 11 and a half. Tightening it down. And let's try this Sharpie. Now, I'm pulling against that, not too hard, but I'm just putting some resistance against that so it'll stay in the same place. And so you won't have this problem when you're doing yours on a board. You know how my Paper's always trying to move on me. But that didn't really work, y'all. Hang on, let me see if I can find another one that's got a real sharp end. Okay, I went back over it with a colored pencil. Should have done that to start with. I'm going to have to remind myself to do that. Okay, and speaking of reminding myself, I keep forgetting to ask you guys to subscribe to my channel and click the bell for notification. If you like what you see, if you would share it with your friends, that would help my channel grow. But anyway, I did remember it this time to say it. All right, now, the next thing we need to do is draw another circle. Now, if you're drawing it on a bigger board than this, you're just going to have to think about what size the circle needs to be. Let me show you. It just needs to be in proportion. Like this is almost 24 round because it's right at the edge of my board. So I drew a 6-inch circle in the center. So you just kind of measure it out what you think looks right, and there's a in proportion to your board. Alright, so this one, now I'm going to set it on 3 and 3 inches here, and that'll give me a 6-inch circle. Alright, I'm putting my marker in the first hole, and I'm just going to pull against that nail just a little bit and draw my circle. And I did that a while ago when I hit that tape up there and had to start again. So now we got a 6-inch circle, and we set this on 11.5. So it's 22 inches across, or 23. All right. Now the next thing, you want to take a screenshot of that. Just know you got to draw 2 circles. Now, if it gets too complicated, just look back at the picture that I showed you, and then you'll see that you want to keep going. And I'm trying to make sure now that I got everything in focus here, or in the camera. I'm going to use magic markers now to start drawing the rest of it. Alright, we've got our 2 circles. We've got this guideline here. Now, and I guess you could measure it off and find your points, but the way I do it, I'm using this arc, and I know I promised a couple of you that I'm going to put a link to it in the description, but I found it on Amazon. If you'll just Google Pacific Arc 12 inches, and it comes up. But I know some folks have told me that they were having a hard time finding it. Now, I think, again, just for my own sake, to make sure I get my lines right. So I've got that guideline there. I'm going to make another guideline this way. Because when I'm putting that arc down, you want to make sure you got it straight. And this will help. Looks like a bullseye, don't it? Alright, so that's just guidelines now. I'm getting 90 degrees and 90 degrees right here. And then I've got to make sure that this is straight. All right. So I've got that. And I'm going to make some tick marks now. I'm going to make them in blue. Okay. Let me show you what we're drawing. So we've got this circle and we've got this circle. Now see these red points? There's 6 of those, and that's what we're drawing now. But we have to even them up all around that circle, so that's what we're doing. Leave that handy. All right, so to get those 6 marks that we need to find, we have to make 6 marks, okay? So this is 360 degrees. So we're going to make a tick mark at every 6, at every 60. So say 10, 20, okay, wait a minute. This is 1, and this is 1. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So we've got that one. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that'd be it, right? All right. You know, I have to think now. I've done this twice. So we're learning this together. So we've got the 6 marks. And now so we've got the 6 marks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2-inch ruler or your yardstick, whatever you've got, and we're going to line our tick marks up. But we're going to make sure we cross in the center here. And all we're going to do is make it, well, we're just going to put a line here and a line here. Now that's going to help when we put our points. Okay, now I'm going to draw my lines now. See these tick marks that we made? So that was every 60. So what we're going to do is just follow that tick mark. We lined it up, right? We lined it up with a tick mark, making sure we crossed into the center, and we're just going to make a tick mark there and a tick mark here, because that's lining it up. And we're going to do that again right here. Tick mark, there's the center, and there's the tick mark. And we have this one, the one that's straight up and down on our guideline. We still need a tick mark there. Alright. Now, what we need to do, and I'm going to use another color. So I just wished I knew how to tell you this without this arc in case you don't have one. But they're not that expensive, and you know, if I can figure out a way to tell you without going out and buying something, then I'd rather do that. But I really don't know what else to tell you to use. Unless you got a protractor. You know, if you've got one of those things that's like we used in school. If you had a big enough one that was big enough, you could use it, I'm sure. But this is so much easier. All right, let me quit jabbering here. The next thing we need to do is make a tick mark at every 30. So we had the 60, right? So 10, 20, 30. And I'm doing that in orange. That's the 60, 10, 20, 30. So we'll have one here. That's another 60, 10, 20, 30. So what you're doing, you got your 60, we're just going, we got your 60, we're just going right in the middle. Let's see, there's a 60 and there's a 60, so we're going right in the middle. 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30. All right. Now we need to take our ruler again and line it up. Line it up with those orange tick marks, or the 30-degree tick mark. Make sure we cross into the center. And this time we're not going to draw it at the circle. We're going to draw it all the way out to the end of the big circle. Alright, let's find another orange. This one. So we already got it to the end of this circle, see? I already got it here. Did I get them all? Got that. Yeah, I got them all. So now what we're going to do, I'll do this with orange too. So you see, this is what we drew into the circle, these 6 points right here. We just did these 6 all the way out to the end of the circle. So here's the ones in the circle, in the small circle, and here's the ones on the outside. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our the ones we drew in the circle, right on the small circle, and we're just going to draw a line up to, here's the other one. We're just drawing a line up to that mark that we put into the outside of the circle. Now when I was doing this, trying to figure it out, it about warped my brain. But once I figured out this part, the other was not that hard to figure out. It just took me a while to figure out how to get these spaces evenly around that circle. And this, I'm not sure if people call this a point base. It's definitely not a grid. So you really are not drawing your grid. I usually do this to make sure I got the center. And that helps. See, there's another mark. I'm drawing it to that. And here's my last one. Okay, there you go. Now see, we've got our first 6 lines, which is these. Now let's do the white ones. And there's 6 of them. So for those, it's a little easier. I'm gonna do that in, I'll do that in green. I think that'll show up. All right, for this one, we need the 6 white ones. So what we need to do with to find how to draw those is find the ruler again. Here you go. All right, you see these points here that we just made? These 6? So all we're going to do is lay our ruler down across that. And see, I've already got 2 of them drawn. And we're just going to make a mark all the way out to the end of our circle. Make a tick mark. See, I'm going across these and the center. When I got that lined up, I'm making my tick mark at the end. Let's do another one. I'm going right into the center and making a tick mark at the very end. See, that was already our guideline, so we already had that one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 6, so we've got that. All right, now you see how this white stops at that red one? So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to make a tick mark 2 inches above this triangle here, this where we put that tick mark. We're going up 2 inches. And we're going to do that all the way around. So I'm just going to use my smaller ruler for this one. And so I'm going to put a tick mark here. I'm going on this side. I'm making a tick mark. So every line that you have, you start from the center of this small circle, not the center, the end where you put that tick mark, at the end where these 2 points come together. That's where you start, and it's 2 inches up on every line. Y'all know when I'm drawing these, I don't practice what I need to say to explain things. I just think I can do it. So then a lot of times when I'm editing, I'll think, man, I should have said this. All right, a little bit more and we'll be finished. Well, we'll be finished with this step. All right, y'all want to take a screenshot? This is 2 inches from that point up. And we did it on every one of them. Now, you know how we made this mark on the outside? That is so that we can get this point straight here. But with our tick mark, I'm going to put my ruler at that tick mark and at the tick mark that we made at the end of the circle. And we're just going to draw Another set of points. See? I'm going to do it again here. Y'all, my poor cat. There's a little dog come up to the house yesterday morning. I think somebody set it out. But we've been trying to find his human parents. He's a beautiful dog. As smart as he can be. But my poor little hoppy cat with the bad leg, she's scared to death. So I got her down here in the basement with me so she can have some peace. It's a beautiful dog. But we've been all over the neighborhood. I've posted it on every site that I can think of. People are sharing it. I cannot believe they would have just set it out. But people do that over here on the mountain. They'll just set their dogs out. It's just hard for me to believe that happened. But that's how we found Woody. We found him starving in the woods over here on the mountain. And so we took him to the vet and had him cleaned up and all his shots, and he's ours. And he's been here 13 years. So we found him in the woods, and that's what we named him, Woody. Anyway, let's get back to this. All right. See, we got our second set. So this, we had 6 of these, and we had 6 of these white ones. So we just drew those white ones. Now we're gonna draw these orange ones. Now there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them. All right, those for those, we need to find the end of our circle again. And I'm going to do it with this short ruler this time again. So let me try purple. Well, no, let me do that big ruler. Because if I don't, I might not get them straight. So we want to always make sure we line across that center. So that's what's keeping me from using that little ruler. So okay, so we're in between the first and second set now. We're in between here. I'm lining it up where those two come together, going across the center and lining it up with another set up here. And all I want to do now is make another tick mark at the end of my circle. And I'm going to do that all the way around. And right here. Right here. See, this keeps your lines straight. And you make sure your points come together right. And right here. All right, so we got that done. All right, let me show you how to find. We found the end of the orange triangles. Now we need to find where it needs to land on the green and the orange, these two sets. So just take your ruler and go to the end of that line. That's where we're going to start, which is always on that circle. And we're going to just make a tick mark at 5 inches. All right, now we're going to go back over on this one, which is the white ones. And we're going to the end of the circle, the edge of it, the edge of the circle, and we're drawing 5. So we're going to do that again here. Go line it up and mark it at 5. We're going to line it up and mark it at 5. So you see this mark don't go all the way down, but your ruler is. So your ruler is going to set on the end of that edge of that circle before you put your tick mark at 5. So I'm going all the way around. And I'm lining my ruler up with that one and all the way down to the edge of the circle. See what I'm doing? Almost finished. I don't want to speed this up. I wanted to make sure I showed you how I went all the way around. So, we just made those tick marks, right? And before that, we have these tick marks all the way to the end of our circle, our big circle. So all we're going to do is the same thing that we did with that second set, but once I have it in green, I'm going to that tick mark at the end of that circle and just drawing down. See that? And this whole thing right here is going to be the orange one. Or whatever colors you decide you're going to make. So you need like 3 shades of a color and then a white, or you could use gray, just a lighter color so that these particular ones will stand out. And then maybe 2 other colors that would go, one around the circle and one inside where you don't have your triangles. See, this whole thing right here is going to be your 3rd set. So we actually end up having 4 sets of these I'm calling them triangles. They're actually, like this one looks more like a diamond, don't it? I tell you, it almost takes as long to draw this as it does to paint it. But it's so pretty when you get done. That's what counts, right? Okay. Now, you know the drill. Let me see if I can find another color that's going to show up better than this one. Here's a brown. Brown will show up. All right, so now you know what we're going to do again. So we had 12 of this third set. So we end up with 24 of the fourth set. All right, for the fourth set, we need 24 triangles up here. And how we're going to find the middle of that is, see these first tick marks that we made? We're going to use those as a guideline. We're going to take our small ruler, line it up there, and line it up where those came together. And we're going to make we'll get it right in there now. Make a tick mark. And so we're going to do that again right here. And just kind of watch, make sure you kind of get it it needs to go in the middle. So sometime with this end of the ruler, just try to line it up with some point. Like I'm lining that one up over here and this, and it ended up being right in the center. So you kind of just have to play with this one, but you want that mark as close to the center as you can get it. Out where these points go on this section, we're just going to go down. We're going to 2 inches from the center. All right. You see this mark? We're going to put our ruler right in there, and we're going to mark it at 2. And we're going to go all the way around and mark it at 2. And I'm going to leave the camera rolling so that you get the gist of it. I do have some footage on here, not anything elaborate, but just as I was painting mine, I would stop and just take a few seconds of film so that you can see how I taped it up. And y'all know I did those how-to videos. So if you want to know how to tape, just go to that particular video that says how to tape. Or if you want to know how to draw the pattern and what I use to draw the pattern with, just go to that video. And it'll show you different marking instruments and the heat erasable pens that I use. So I put this on my board using the heat erasable pens, not these magic markers, Sharpies. Okay, now, got that, right? And here's what we're going to do all the way around. We're going to go to that tick mark that we made, and we're going to draw down to that one that we just got finished. Y'all hear the dog? I hate to keep moving this on you. I can't reach it. All right, look at that. We missed one. Or I missed one. There you go. No problem. So there you go. There we have it. That's the pattern. Trying to get you where you can take a good screenshot. There you go. So you can take a screenshot of that. And then take one of this one so that you'll have the pictures right near each other when you're painting. So here's my colors. I forget. Alright, so I used 3 shades of an orange and orangey red color. So this darkest this color, not the darkest, but this color is called Steelhead Red. And this is Ultra Orange. Now these are all Valspar. Now this darkest one is called Toasted Cranberry. And my white, I used coconut milk. I didn't want that like a bright white, since it was kind of going into the fall color. Alright, this one is this lighter green, and that's called Succulent Leaves. And my dark one is called Clover Leaf. And they're all semi-gloss. Now I've got some touching up to do before I can say I'm done. But all in all, this is not that hard to paint. It was a lot of tape around here. But what I did, I just taped up every other one. And it was just easier to do that. I painted that. When it got dry, I pulled it off and then done the other one. So that was just a lot easier, I thought. So, I hope you'll make one for for yourself. And if you do, let me know. I'd like to see what colors you come up with. So here's your pattern one more time. That poor little dog wants its mama. I may cut this out, and I may not. If I have time, it's according to how long this video gets. But I wanted to show you some that's coming up. I found this one's called Navajo Star, and I want to do this Prism Star. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do, but I'll do it for y'all. And then this one is called Hours of Eye Candy. I thought that was pretty too. I've got one that's an old quilt pattern called Chilhowie, and I'm working on that for y'all. But Chilhowie means, I think it's Navajo for land of many deer, and that's an old quilt pattern. And so I want to do that one for y'all too. So I got some goodies coming up, and I hope you like them. So enjoy Chips and Whetstones. And I will see you all in the next video. Make sure to subscribe and hit share and notifications. See you all later.